sweet artists, and welcome back to Art with Mrs. D. Today we are going to be working on a project that involves value and symmetry and a few shapes here and there too. We are going to be making this ladybug pattern. So grab your supplies and let's get creating. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do is we are going to squeeze some tempera paint, some liquid tempera paint onto your palette. And I am choosing a variety of colors. I'm using the warm colors because those are some of the colors of our ladybugs that we are making. So I have yellow, red, pink. I'm also going to use some white, and we are going to create value by making tints, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So as I start painting, I am going to paint some oval shapes, and I am going to paint those ovals all over my paper. I'm going to paint them in a variety of colors, and I might tilt some of them sideways, have some of them right side up, but altogether this pattern is going to be made up of these oval shapes all over your paper. One of the fun things that we're going to be practicing is something called value, and value is how light or dark a color, or a hue is another word for color, can be. So we are going to be using white today to create value with the color mixing that we're doing. So right here I am just mixing a new color, and then I am going to add some white to it to create a new value. Now, we've talked about how I'm adding white to my colors to create value, but there are actually other ways that you can create value while painting as well. So when you add black to a color, you get something called a shade, and so that makes your color darker. When you add white to a color, you're going to get something called a tint, and the tint is how we make our colors lighter. And then when you add gray to a color, that is going to make it called a tone, and a tone kind of gives you a duller version of that color. So it's not necessarily dark, it's not necessarily light, it's just kind of a dull version. So that is how you can create value while you are painting, by adding black, white, or gray. this point, you'll be finishing up your ovals, and we will take a little break so that you can let your paint dry for a minute, and then you'll come back and we'll add on some of those ladybug details and even get a few ladybug facts. Okay, welcome back. I hope you had some time for your paint to dry. At this point, we're going to use a few new supplies. We're going to use some oil pastels and a Sharpie. So a white oil pastel, black oil pastel, and a Sharpie. All of my ovals are pretty dry, so I'm ready to go too. Starting with the Sharpie, I am going to make some half circles on top or sometimes on the bottom of all of my ovals. So wherever there is a more pointed part of the oval, I guess you could say, that end I'm going to put a little half circle and then I will fill it in. So I'm going to go around on all my ovals and add my half circles where I want my ladybug head to be. As I am working on coloring in these half circles now, I would love to share some ladybug facts with you. So one of the things that I learned about ladybugs in my research, because when I make art about something, I kind of like to research a little bit about it too. And I've always loved ladybugs. I think they're super cute. And I just thought, you know what? Why don't I learn a little bit more about them? So one of the things that I learned is that ladybugs are technically beetles. You know, when you think of beetles, sometimes you think of those scary looking big black beetles. Not these little guys. These are cute, and they are also in the beetle family. After you finish coloring in these half circles, then we are going to add some more details to our ladybugs. We are going to add their legs, and ladybugs typically have 6 legs. So we are going to add the front legs, and I'm going to make mine curve upwards towards its head, just like this. And while I'm adding these legs on, I am going to share some more ladybug facts with you because, of course, why not? So one other thing that I learned is that ladybugs are also known as ladybirds or lady beetles. So we already talked about how they're in the beetle family. They're technically beetles, but they are also known as lady beetles or ladybirds. I love ladybirds. That's a cute one. Another thing, as I'm adding on these legs, I'm kind of doing a diagonal line out, almost like an L shape of the other legs on their side. So they have the 2 front legs. I guess I'm kind of considering those ones like their little arms, curved up towards their heads, and then their bottom 4 legs, 2 on each side, they're kind of little diagonal L shapes coming off of their bodies there. After adding all of our ladybug legs on, we are now going to add some vertical lines that go straight through the middle of their bodies up to that half circle that we made on the top of their heads. This is going to create that line of where their shell kind of opens up and hides their wings underneath. So we're going to put that line on all of our ladybugs. And while I'm doing that, I would love to talk to you about another ladybug fact. So, one of the other things that I learned is that ladybugs, and I did not know this growing up, I found this out later on in life, but ladybugs come in all different spots and colors, and I thought that was so interesting, so I wanted to share that with you. So up here on the screen, you'll see all these different types of ladybugs. There's some that are orange, some that are red, some that are yellow, some that are gray. Their spots can be different. Some can have black spots, some can have white spots. Some have 3 spots on one wing, while others have 6 or 8 spots. So they just all are so different. And I think that is so unique about ladybugs. So it's fun to make these tinted ladybugs today with you and to make them all different and unique with their different spots. Now, before I add my spots, I am using my white oil pastel to add eyes to my ladybugs, and then I'm going to use my black and my white oil pastel to create some spots. Now, what's wonderful about ladybugs also is that they are pleasing to the eye because they usually have symmetry going on. So whatever kind of spot you do on one side of your ladybug, you are going to want to do on the other side to make sure that it is pleasing to the eye. So if I do a big spot on one side of my red ladybug here, I'm going to do a big spot on the other side right across from it as a mirror image. Thanks so much for creating with me today. I hope you learned something new and had a fun time. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe below so that we can keep creating together in the future. Thanks for watching.